I went to go look at the little ring of people in the club circuit, and apparently some more places closed down. But I'm trying to figure out why, because there's nothing in like the media of like some major like thing or anything like that. And the one place that I thought was closed down is not closed down, and that's like one of the worst ones, the ones that did the transfer. But I went to go look at this other thing, and they said they went up to the door place of this one place, and they said it was closed down. So I was like, oh, well, maybe the lady passed away finally, because she was really old, you guys. She was old when I worked. And then I kept looking on the story. I kept looking, and they keep mentioning that she was still there. And I'm like, how old is that lady now? She has to be in like her 80s or something. And eventually it did, but I don't know exactly when. In the last year, maybe. Now the one that I said was totally empty is still a mystery, because when I was looking, the men were saying that they were stopping by there, and they said that there's all these signs and things out there, and I was like, I don't know, is it closed? But then I went to look online, like they still have their website. They have a weird, obscure Facebook with like only 30 some odd people following it. I'm like, this is a business. You guys, this doesn't make any sense. It still doesn't make sense. Because if it's open still, maybe it's just not open to the public. We don't know what the hell's going on with that one. It should have never been open that long, because they even showed a photo. It's so weird. Like they show a photo of the inside of the place. Like the inside of the place looks cool. It's like they designed this like kind of nightclub loungy thing, and it's decent looking on the inside. But no one's in it. Even in the photo that they show, like there's nobody in it. Not even the workers, nothing. Nobody. It's just like this empty room. And I go, yeah, it was totally like that. I walked in there and there was hardly anybody. So then if you go through the list of like that place, people will say it too. They're like, this place is weird. I go in and there's only like a couple people and there's no major business. And so then it's not that great. Like they're just like, hmm. So I'm sitting here going, yeah, okay, so, but how did it stay open? You have to make money to stay open. Like, who's going to sit there and keep generating thousands of dollars a month in rent when you can't make the rent from your business? And we're talking, this place opened in the 90s. It's not, oh, it just opened and it's like so bad this year and they're just trying really hard to keep it open. No. And there was no time that it was ever extraordinarily busy to my understanding, because as I'm just even going through everything, I go, there's nothing there. There's nobody following it. There's no, I don't know. It's the biggest mystery in this whole thing. And they promote their place more like the military 10 cent a person dance thing. And then they even promote it like that on their site, which is different than the other one, which is a cultural thing in Asian countries. Like they're basically similar, but different. Like the dance one is like military men, servicemen, where they were trying to get women to service these stupid idiots. And then they pay you to dance with them for like a few minutes to, 30 minutes, well, however long. And then you go back and you sit down and then they leave and then they come back. But the way they present it in public, like in movies and to women, on TV shows or anything like that, that's not actually what it looked like. Like it's not what it looked like. It was horrific. But so there was a group of them that were running like that, and then there's the other ones that we're talking about in the other community. So no, and I'm trying to read to see like what is the deal, and the guys don't seem to know. Like I'm reading what I can on it, and nothing. Like it doesn't say there's any special thing that they got or anything like that, because I didn't even get proposition, like there was no situation where it could even happen. So I was like, yeah, I don't know, that one is throwing me off, like unless it's a private cover for, I honestly, because you're talking 20 some odd year, 25 years of a place running where there's no business, like hardly any business. Like a couple of people would be there, but you couldn't operate a business with a couple people. I don't know. I don't know. But even online, it shows like there's hardly like any. They try to promote, but not that. It's really weird. Their promotion is strange. It's just, do you hate your wife? It's just like, do you hate your wife, or are you mad at your wife? You sick of your girlfriend? It's so weird. Like the presentation of it too. It sounds so like, what the hell? You want to cheat on your wife? I mean, something weird like that. But you're not supposed to do that at this place. But it's just like the way they present it. And then it's all come over here. And I'm just like, I have no idea. But the other one, the one that I filed on, okay, so he didn't have his place anymore, but he has another place. And he got sued at that place. Well, there's some action going on there with waiving $1,000. And I was like, yeah, you're going to see stuff like that. And you're going to think it's consensual, but it's not. But the guys are also talking about preying on girls. So the men are the ones that are outing themselves as predators. So I was like going through this thing, and this guy goes at one of the places that I used to work at, which was big time human trafficking ring. He's like, oh, I miss the glory days when I got to do all this crap. Yeah, but when you read these comments, you guys, if you ever run across them, think of no consent. No consent. And so I was like, wow, okay, at least they're admitting some weird thing on here. So, yeah, I just recently scoured it again to see what the hell was going on. And yeah, so the place that I was talking about, they're saying it's closed. The one, the empty one, they're saying it's closed, but then the site's still working. I don't know. Like these old pictures of like a handful of girls, like 5 or something, which is bizarre as it is, because usually these places, they have like a open door of like 100 girls or something, like a tank of them. And just a few girls, and then they use those pictures over and over again, and they're like dressed the same. I was like, we never dressed the same. What is that? It's strange. So I don't know what's going on there. I just don't. I don't right now, and I'm trying to figure it out. And so I'm like, we're fine. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't think, I don't, it's hard to say if it's part of actual human trafficking like the other ones. You would think it would be, but there wasn't a situation to set me up into that. I don't know. And then they don't get business enough to be set up in that. Unless it's just a private call center and it's just like that's the front. I have no idea. I would like to know how much the rent was in that building. I can't imagine it being cheap. It had to be. Oh, I don't know because of. Oh, it was so funny. Somebody goes. I was like, it was so funny. I was like, I go, yeah, I'm more street smart than the people in Detroit. Somebody came in from Detroit. They go, dude, I am from Detroit. I am a chick from Detroit, and this place is scary ass. And I go, that's right. I had to run out of there by myself. I was like, holy crap. Yeah, it was funny because if you guys know anything about Detroit, like there's some really bad, really bad areas. They'll crash into your car and then shoot you on the street for accidentally hitting a car. Okay, so yeah, no, it was in a very where you would probably consider dangerous. Like I'm not even bothered by that stuff because most of the time, like even the creepy crawlers don't even bother you, even though by appearance it looks sketchy. But typically, the creepy crawlers don't bother you. It's the people in the building. And so, yeah, I was like, yeah, that was the frightening thing. But that's what they said. They're like, I parked over here. This is scarier than freaking Detroit. I go, yeah, There's some places in downtown that are like, yeah, and I'll go walking there in the middle of the night. It's like, nothing happened to me, you guys. I think the worst thing that happened to me was some like crackhead woman She was probably really mentally ill, was walking around asking for money. I mean, honestly, that was probably about the worst incident I ever had happen. It's not even an incident. The people that were scary were the men that came down there, the rich men that came down there, and the cops that were cruising around all night long. That's where the real danger was, in my opinion. But and the big rats that were the size of cats that were roaming around at night. The funniest thing is that I just shared with you guys the security guy thing. Well, one of the guys that posted about the place, there's not that many comments about the place, like, because not that many people went in there. The guy's like, the people that work there are sketchy. They had this big security guy. I was like, oh, that's funny. So even the customers are having a problem with this. Yeah. I don't know what it's like a mafia. It could be, I'm not even kidding. It could be a front for a whole different thing, okay? Because I'm telling you, I worked all these circuit. Like I went into all these different places, and I go, this one I cannot put my finger on because it's not like they're like, okay, we're gonna set you up with this dude, and you're gonna try to do this thing. It was like at no time did I ever even meet another person in that place. Not once. I didn't do any nobody, nothing. And I kept coming in, and I'm like, I cannot work here because nobody is here. And I'm not going to be micromanaged by some creepy ass like security and they wanting to take my phone and I can't talk to another human. How scary is this? But that's what they said. They came in and it was the same thing. This is like just a few years ago, within the last few years. The guy went in there and the security guy was really funny with me. I go, yeah, I don't know what that is. Where are they getting the money to pay the security guy? That's the thing. I go, I don't know what it is a thing for. Shelter. I'm thinking it's a shelter for some other, not even what we're thinking, but like what we know is going on up in here. Oh yeah, you guys are seeing what's happening today. I was saying he's so retaliatory. Yeah, I mean, if we talk about outside even the context of Jeffrey Epstein, oh yeah, Alex Jones, yeah. So I was trying to point out something, um, yeah, that they were spreading hoaxes and everything and blatant Nazi misogyny. Okay, but there's this like level, watch. So there's like this level of free speech, right? And okay, if you want to allow that being part of free speech, because it's not about what you agree with, it's meant to be for other people that have different belief systems. Okay, fine. But if they want to be Nazis and, do this rhetoric, we need to be able to counter that from our end, right? But what they were doing is muting us and then only allowing that, right? And then they weren't penalizing them, they were penalizing us, the counter to these people. So then it makes it where I cannot thrive, financially, but they get to get all the money, which is the platform, we're talking YouTube. I go, they were never looked at. And they turned around, they told everybody, you can say the word bitch, and get paid again or something like that in some, group thing talking to the influencers. And I was like, I'll be damned. And then they want to censor the word rape. They're literally censoring murder. They're censoring all these words. We don't play along with the game because we know who's doing it. But these women bend over to it and then start doing it. And I go, well, every time you do it, then we're like one more step to censorship. It's a fine line, right? Because it's like the bullshit that Alex did. It's like, okay, yeah. So the thing is court, right? So court. So he has the right to say it. But if it crosses a line of, something that's totally false and it's harming someone else, well, they can go take him to court, and then he loses all these cases. But if you guys remember QAnon, the interesting thing was I was on the Jeffrey case before that even, started coming about. But I couldn't figure like when this was though, because I was saying I was following Trump. We were talking about the TV show. It was just all about the TV show bullshit. And then I remember protests going on, and he's having a thing over there. And I know we were talking about Chicago, and I was trying to understand it. You know, there's a lot of things going on in this 2014 period. But I got the Jeffrey story before that because I'm looking at the Skeptics date thing there, and it says 2011. And I go, that's right, because I was following some atheist science guys who were all part of that thing too. So, and I remember the comment being flung out, and that might have been the tail off. Like the comment being thrown out, me and trying to understand this 13-year-old story. It was something in that portion. So when I found the story, I actually there was a website and it was talking about an island, and I'm like, what the hell? Like it was a whole new concept to me. Like I'd never even heard of this. There wasn't a thing where I'm like, whoa, this is fake. I was just like, what the hell's going on here? So I'm like reading the story. There was nothing QAnoning about it. It's just, oh, this dude, and then he brought some women over there and did these things. I'm like, wow, that's a crazy story. It was weird. And so I brought it up, and then I had some issues with Lawrence Krauss because I was following him for like a hot minute. It was like 2 seconds. I mean, it wasn't that long because all the atheist guys were like, oh, he's the greatest thing ever. And I'm like, all right, I'll go follow him. I'm like, I'm already kind of creeped out by him because he's reminding me of other predators. But okay, so I'm like following him, and then the next minute, that whole thing with the 13-year-old, and I'm like, ew, I'm grossed out. Like, I can't. I'm like, how do I get out of this? So I just like unfollowed. Like I did this sly thing out of the room with him. And yeah, but Trump wasn't saying nothing about it at that time. So then Alex Jones. Okay, so what it says is Trump appeared on Jones InfoWars in December 2015. So this is before he ran, right? It was like 2016. I don't even know. I think I went brain dead about that moment. At some point he runs, but he wasn't running at the moment. I remember he wasn't running at the moment. He was flaunting it out there, and I was like, oh yeah, we would vote for it, like, whatever. But then a lot of people were saying, oh my God, he's a total racist. I'm like, he is? I know nothing about that. Yeah, it was just this weird moment. And then he says that really racist comment. Like there was some weird thing at that moment. And I was like, oh, hell no, I would never vote for that guy. Yeah, it just turned into that because I saw through it. Like it took a minute, but then like he is really going to run. And then when he started talking, I was like, that's not the real person. Who is that? Because I had been following him for a while, and I go, none of that be up in here. It wasn't on this feed, when he's on Twitter, he's like trying to get everybody to love him and everything, doing this. And he is very interactive with the public. So it makes people feel close to him, right? It's like this thing. But the minute he started running, I go, I don't know who that is. And now he's going all Christian and crazy and weird. I wouldn't vote for that. What is that? It's a different person. It was like a different person. And then I'm like, it's all fake, like that's how I was looking. It is fake, but it's like there's a serious thing to this. So I was like, yeah, I don't know. But he goes on to, Jones's InfoWars, and Jones gets used as a tool now. Jones is the tool in Trump's, thing here. So he's using everybody to get what he wants. And then at some point here, then that QAnon theory thing came out, right? So who does it benefit? When you want to figure out who made up something, you like, look who it's benefiting. It was like not benefiting Jeffrey, but it was benefiting Trump by it being thrown all onto Clinton and, oh, it's all the Dems. That's not true. It's a combination of about a bazillion men. And the only men that they're looking at are famous men, which is just bullshit. Like, I'm still, like, fuming over this. But there's, like, so many layers and things in the story, such as the use of high tech to target victims, the systematic things that they were doing to keep us down, the trying to keep the story off, trying to... I was a big threat because my whole thing is talking strictly on this stuff. I mean, so I'm not like, these other people in the story. And we have a strange connection among this universe of people where I'm a child victim. And at no point was anybody outraged by this. The women wanted to take part and give me a middle finger. So we don't forget that. We will never forgive that. But that's really the truth of it, Because it's like someone's telling you, I'm a victim of these people. And they're over there going, F you. And they're like, oh, you know what? I'm a victim too. It's like, well, that's not an excuse to treat me like shit. I don't know. I would never do that. I don't know them. Do I support them? Yeah. But, the derangement in that. So, so they wanted to erase all the stories. Not even just mine, though. It's not like this, soul single universe thing. It's like they're trying to they were trying to limit even finding their stories. And I even mentioned it, I go, Google's doing this whole effing thing. You wouldn't know it unless you do the research that I do. So the way that I research these guys. So I was finding them all because everybody was talking about them in private, like on forums and everywhere. They don't want me to find that. So they started changing everything up and doing all this crap and trying to cover up their asses. And I noticed it and I go, wow, that's pretty interesting. I go, so what's our response to it? Oh, they're like, optimizing. I go, no, that's not optimizing. You guys are covering up. So, I already know the bullshit over here. And then they started targeting my income. So when they start targeting, they censor me. They were going after my business accounts. They were taking over my business accounts. At some points they're pretending to be me. And then they kept doing this weird shit like, what's your phone number? What's your phone number? And then putting bots onto my channel here. Oh my God, it was crazy. I said there was all these fake accounts, like these weird accounts or, a bunch of people. And it could be related to the other account too as well. But the bots were coming. And then, they implant their, bullshit. And I'm like, I don't know what to do about that. Just leave it. I don't know. Do I leave it? And, no, the bots were doing these things. And then they were doing shadow banning, right? The shadow banning thing. Okay. So it's all programmed by these people. And I was saying they own everything. It's not an exaggeration. They own everything. And they're the tech guys too as well. And I was like, okay, let me screenshot what it is that they programmed into the system. Okay, so now I'm fucking with the machine. So I started testing some things and I go, oh, yeah, it was bad. And then Instagram admits to it, but they're playing innocent. Oh, it's just an accident. It's actually not, you guys. It's literally not, because they have to hand input that in there, you know what I mean, first. And then they let it run on automation. So I was like, yeah, man, that's interesting. And then they were deleting the entire post, right? Then it was doing that. So then I had to get around their machinery. And then and then they started doing this, and I was like, I can't even win this war because me against machine, because rage against the machine. I'm posting a paragraph, and then usually what they do is it deletes the whole paragraph, right? Then it started doing this, and I go, oh my God, it's the craziest shit I've ever seen. So I'd post the whole paragraph and then I post it and all of a sudden it decided, well, I'm going to delete this one line. And all of a sudden it went, boop, just a sentence. And I'm like, I can't even win this. You can't scream loud enough, help me, because they're doing that. But it's programmed. They're programming it. So then another thing that they were doing is these tactics of fake presenting a story so you vote for it, or so you're for some changes on a platform to target victims. Okay, so the way they present it is so effed up. It's kind of like what they did with Sesta Fossa, right? So Sesta Fossa was presented as, oh, we're here to help people. Okay, so you already know anytime men come up in here saying they're going to help people, it's bullshit. So it was used as a tactic to go target more victims, right? Okay, so on this other thing, they were like, oh yeah, children and their mental health, and we're here to save the kids. Well, if you're here to save the kids, then you need to let them talk about fucking rape. You know what I mean? Like the whole thing about it. So then they're like, oh no, censorship. You can't talk about children and sex crimes, and we gotta censor all these victims out. Because that's where it targets. I mean, and it's rightfully so they're doing it because it's from these particular people, because I've been kind of researching some of these people. And I go, yeah, they're piles of shit. So they're faking it up in here. They want full-blown dictators because they're Christian fundamentalists that believe in male empowerment and that women need to submit to them. And actually, I saw the best kind of explanation to this on, I think it was Reddit yesterday. I go, yeah, I guess that's how you would explain it. Like, they're like, something about liberals. They go, liberals believe in equality for all. But this other group of people believe in dictatorship where there needs to be they say there needs to be a pyramid scheme to seem that someone's the most powerful, and, you know, everybody, it needs to trickle down, and there needs to be these poor people, like some way that they explained it. And I go, well, yeah, but, you know, if you look at it properly, it's just the male supremacist pyramid of a psychopath that is the grandiose narcissist cult leader. I mean, as we get more defined into what that is, because that's what that is on the top of the pyramid, is a narcissist, a grandiose narcissist, malignant, usually like a malignant narcissist, yeah, something like that. Anyway, on the top of the pyramid, and then below it is going to be male, because when it's male supremacy, so then it's just going to be like they need to submit to them, like a Jeffrey. Like Jeffrey's like not the top of the pyramid, but he's up in the top rank, right? He's like up in the top, but he's not the king of the universe. You know, if you understand the pyramid of that. So I was like, yeah, no, he didn't. I mean, he had a lot of power. He certainly did, but he didn't run the country. And I guess he didn't desire to do that because he didn't. Did he run for president? I was like, he didn't run for president, but he did have his own cult. You know, as the women are speaking about it, I was like, yeah, that's basically he's a cult leader because he's getting, you know, this thing narcissists apply. So when it gets cut off, they start going after you. But he's nowhere near as bad as Trump, like with that problem right there. But they've all have, you know, very similar, you know, problems. And I've always found this to be interesting, the dynamic between them with the same disorders or very similar disorders, because there's always someone that's going to be submissive in it because they both cannot be the dominant. They will not get along. They will fight to the death. So eventually one will take one out somehow. So that's kind of what they do. So I was like, yeah, that's an interesting dynamic because they were really, you know, close. But for the narcissist, the other narcissist to be like, he's like more shady than myself. I like, you know. But Jeffrey probably doesn't see himself as, you know, is even a bad person anyway. But who knows, you know? Sometimes they gleefully know they're bad and they're purposely trying to be bad, and they think that, and that's how they get their glory. You know, look how bad I am, and look what I get from it, and it just feeds into this, you know, mentality. No, I fully believe that Trump used them as a tool to steer off the focus from him. And what made it interesting is that I think Marjorie Taylor Greene is the one that bought into that initially, which I don't know how. There was like this whole thing to it, and I was so annoyed by it because I go, it starts off right. Like, we could talk about the story of Jeffrey with the QAnon. Like, there's parts where it was like, oh, it starts off right. We're talking about all the same stuff. We care about the same thing. But then next it starts going into Cuckooville, and it's all the Dems, and they start throwing out these other names. Like, why are they doing this? You know, you have to go in this whole thing about it. And I was like, well, if I'm a guilty party and I don't want I'm trying to become president, I'm trying to get people, you know what I mean? That's a good tactic. In a sociopath brain, it's a good tactic. And they look at that as being genius. It's effed up. It's sick. It's not genius. It's sick. And then they threw everybody off. And then so when I'm talking about the story in real life, like the stuff that I actually know, it's not fake stuff, it's like real shit going on in life. They started trying to lump me with QAnon, because then they started trying to mute QAnon, which you don't want to mute. You don't want to mute the group that needs the most help. Like, they need to hear the counter. Like, they have to stop. Like, you have to put sanity in the room, because by muting them, they're going to still go out and do crazy stuff. Like, there's going to be no one there that's talking to them some sense. And there were some people that were in this other group of people that there was a QAnon person. And I was like, man, they care about the same stuff, you know? It's just they're highly sidetracked by this crap right here. They were nice. There was nothing wrong with them. But I noticed a whole bunch of people that were falling into that category where, like, they genuinely care about, you know, these crimes with, you know, kids and these adult men. But they're so steered off the rails that they're not looking in the right direction. They don't fully comprehend the extent of what's going on here. You have to understand that these people are extraordinary. Some of these people have gone to Harvard. Some of these people have very high intellect. They don't all have high intellect, but there's a lot of people in here that do have a much higher intellect, and they know that they can steer you off because you're not as bright. You're ignorant to things, and that you'll believe certain things. And they know that, and they're playing off your IQ, basically. And I'm not that person, dude. I'm just sitting back going, I suspect this thing is a plot by someone. That was always my thought on the QAnon thing. I was like, well, who's throwing it off? Because you have to sit with that. It's not just for the purpose of hell's sake. Like, what would be the purpose of that? We're just going to start saying Tom Hanks is a total pedo, you know, piece of shit. You know what I mean? It doesn't, there has to be an end goal to that. Like, why are you doing that? Innocently pulling people, you know what I mean? It's just not that. So there's an end goal, and then they get tons of views by saying the craziest stuff. And I was pointing it out. I go, God, I'm talking about reality, which I feel like reality is crazy enough as it is with these men up in here. You know, it's like I'm at a job, and they're sitting there trying to pimp me out to these rich dudes after work. And I'm like, no. And that's not good enough for them. You have to have some other story that's related to, like, some alien kebab. I don't know, some weird thing. I'm like, I can't compete with this because reality is more effed up, but I don't know. It just wasn't that crazy. Pizza place, like I said, like, they argue stuff like that, and I go, I swear to God, there's going to be a place that's running a human trafficking ring out of a pizza parlor. It will be somewhere in the world. It definitely will. Somewhere in the world it's happening. I don't know where, just not here. But I would more see some criminal activity, like a drug dealing, out of a pizza parlor. But anyway, they pick an Italian place, you know, and it pisses me off. But that's just the thing about it. But they started pulling that in. It's like, oh, could that actually happen somewhere? Yeah, sure, in the world, but this is not it. And they think that they were just popping kids out in a pizza place, and some guy goes there with a gun. See, okay, so they know that those people are the main voters, unfortunately. And you could tell them anything that whack. But I'm sitting here telling the story too. Why don't they listen to me, right? I don't get it. Like, they don't listen to what I'm saying, but they'll listen to that. And I don't understand it. Like, I don't understand the divide. Maybe because I'm not all Christian either. So that's another thing where they start being bullies, because I don't believe in that. But if you believe in that, then it opens up the door for you to believe in some other wacky stuff, right? Oh, I believe that some got impregnated a 12-year-old. Like, that isn't a flag already. You guys are talking about pizza parlor crap, and there's that in your stuff. I'm just like, what is that? Why would you go there and then ignore that and then be outraged? See, that's the thing. They're dealing with those type of people with a lower intellect. And it's not to be mean, it's just that they know that they can manipulate those people the best. Why do they go at kids, right? Because they are not as educated and developed yet to understand what the hell is going on. So, in the same fashion, they look for those people, regardless of age, to manipulate. And then they know that they can manipulate you by your emotions, even if you're a higher intellect. Like, they can manipulate you by your emotions alone. So how's the best way to do it? Oh, kids are being trafficked all over the world. I mean, who the hell wouldn't be before this other than these men, right? They somehow went in their brain. If you understand some of those disorders, they are really detached. Like, it's a different shelving. That's how I was stressing. Listen to the Allison Mack thing. It's crazy because it literally touches on every little part of that thing where it's like the reshelving, and they confront her and she's like, no, the way you're saying it, no, we're doing this. The shelving is different. The shelving is way different. The media's having a heyday with her, going, she didn't see any problem with this other thing. I go, that's not accurate. Like, it just doesn't explain it well. The way you have to listen to her. Like, don't listen to the media. You have to go actually listen to the podcast, because it'll lead you where you need to go and listen to that. But it's like the shelving of it is so different. It's like when you read the Bible, it doesn't say, hi, this is a 12-year-old. It's just like women and children. And it's like, what the hell does that mean? You don't define it. It's not in your face. You didn't know how old Mary was. You didn't know anything. So it's sort of this weird thing where it's like a manipulation of the facts not being fully written out, right? It's like, well, can you have them define child? Because now these people that are fake crusading around Save the Kids, well, if you ask some of them, can you define child? They're like, no, it's not a 15-year-old. No, that's a child. And in almost all the states, there isn't a like AOC where it's like 15, but they have allowed 15 due to the additionals in their laws. So they were never against going at children. So then they become a hypocrite, right? Now they're holding two different belief systems. So it makes it difficult when we're going after this topic, because they're like, save the kids. It's like, but again, define what a child is to you, because anybody under 18 is definitely a kid. But they wanted to argue, well, this victim in the story is 15. So we believe she's old enough to be human trafficked out. Like it's like the addition, like she's old enough. It's not that bad. You know, some man human trafficked her out. This is bullshit. But this is because of the church doctrine, because that's where they're getting those laws from, the 12-year-old thing. And then the, how they're defining it. Like, it's not as bad on a 12-year-old to get raped and human trafficked out versus a 5-year-old. I was like, no, it's all the same. And you can't define who's going to have the worst trauma out of it from those incidents. You can't. Like, it could be the 30-year-old is the most traumatized for life from it versus the 5-year-old that has like no recollect of it even ever happening. You know what I mean? It just does different things to different people due to whatever. So you can't define it by that. The action is the thing that causes trauma. And the focus should be on the person that's into harming other humans, which is, you know, these white men. And when you look through the Bible, it's like throughout that whole thing, like they all have the disorder. And so, you know, Jones and all that, all these guys here, oh, geez, we love him, all this, spewing out crazy crap that causes people to die, but they don't care. Like, oh yeah, Rogan, yeah. So he's like, you know what, Jesus is a good man. Like, he's an idiot. He's just, the people that follow him are the people in the same category as this. They're not very intellectual, you know, they get taken advantage of quite a bit. And it's not like, I mean, if it's just a thing of just having a conversation about yourself on his show, it's never really that bad. Like, you know, they'll just talk to a couple of people sometimes and it's like, okay, fine. Like, there's nothing controversial about the interview between him and this other person. But then at other times when he starts in with his own belief system, he's an idiot. I'm like, he's an idiot. It's just he is. The money doesn't mean nothing about it. He's just like, here's my audience. He knows the audience. The audience are the people that fall into QAnon. that fall into all this other stuff, and they like people trashing our gender, and just I mean, that's how he got where he was at to begin with. I said he was like the most, I didn't even know he existed in the room on the show. I mean, that's not being mean. I honestly, I couldn't even remember him, and I was like, that's so funny. He's not that charismatic. I don't find him charismatic. No, I can name other people who I think are pretty charismatic. It's I don't know. It was like he was almost the non-existent guy. Like he's more in the too self-centered, like into himself, like doesn't like I don't know, the more shy type, that weird thing going on. That was my experience. So but I didn't spend much time other than that day with them. And then no, it was just funny. I was like, he was there. He was there. I mean, that's pretty bad. You don't even know they were there. I was like, he didn't even stick out. Andy Dick sticks out. Yeah, Andy Dick and John Lovett. Like Andy Dick and John. That's where the whole thing was at. Okay, yeah, those are some charismatic dudes. Okay, so what did Marjorie say today? I literally was just going down this whole thing and I was explaining this type of narcissist because they even under the definitions of the grandiose narcissist, the cult leader, they put Keith Raniere. I always forget to say last E thing. It's funny. But anyway, I was like, anyways. And what did she say? So no, Marjorie's actually, as crazy as some of her past stuff has been, she's being true to herself. So regardless if you don't agree with her opinions or whatever, she's being true to herself. She's not being fake. She's not being fake. That's her belief system, and that's what she's sticking to. And she was very much into Save the Kid thing. She was very much heavily involved in the Jeffrey thing. Like, that it was really important. I do believe she got caught up in the QAnon thing where it steered her off a bit. And I think right now is a moment where she's like, yeah, like, wait a minute. But what's messed up about it, and she's going to learn a lesson here. I guess does she not know what a narcissist is? I mean, it may be that she's not as educated either. That's why I talk about these guys all the time. I go, you know what's most important on this topic of child rape or any of these topics is that first, they're going to be a narcissist. And they're socios. I mean, to degrees that, vary depending on, what they got. But in order to do something like that, you have to have narcissism in it. Do they all follow on the spectrum of the disorder itself? I would think most of them, unless you have some variables like you look at what happened to Allison where they got her there. Then she goes and harms other people. So there's that little area right there too. But her doing it in the moment, she's being a narcissist, right? She is being self-centered, doesn't care about anybody else, and is embodied this whole like bullshit, right? So but she's shelving it differently due to the cult leader, where she thinks she's doing it for a greater good. But her actions are still self-centered, narcissism, boom. Okay? That's the only way I can explain that one. But generally, anybody that does a sex crime or touches anybody is a self-centered piece of shit that doesn't care about other people's emotions or how that, does, all that stuff. So it's really important. So, and since there's different types of narcissists, they're not all cult leaders, but they may, some of them may lean into that, some more often than not. Celebrities will fall into that category actually because they're fan base, right? So they're like a cult leader. And so they need the narcissist supply, right? The narcissist supply, I guess, is like them getting the adoration. And then you'll notice the narcissist celebrity that does this. Okay, so, and not all of them, I'm sure, are total narcissists, but you'll really know. So when you stop following the cult leader narcissist, which is the grandiose, right? It's the grandiose or the overt, whatever they're called, the in that thing. Um, that they get mad, and then instead of like listening as to why you no longer like them, like listening to the room, like, what upset part of my fan base today? Do I care about it? Is it important to care about? Maybe it is important to care about. Did I say something that I hurt people that actually care about me, right? Me. They're caring about me, and I said something that hurt a group of people that give me love. So I should care about them, right? I should care about them. They don't care about you. Okay. So they don't care about you. Then they start this game. You'll see this game where they're like, they were never a real fan to begin with. Okay. That's a cult leader narcissist. Totally. They don't all do that, but there have been some, and I've seen them, and I was like, wow, what a piece of shit. I'm glad I'm not a fan anymore. Um, because that's not true. It's not true that somebody wasn't a real fan. They're spending money on your stupid ass, and nobody needs to give you attention. And then you saw the narcissist come out here going, you can't cancel me. You have to love me. What? You don't want to give me attention anymore? This is absurd. This should never happen. Okay, so that's another narcissist. So Marjorie says she had warnings for her safety after post by Trump. Yeah. Trump is homicidal. He has homicidal tendencies. That one, no, I did not pick that up. You guys, I did not pick that up in early 2014. I did not pick that up. Homicidal? You know who picked up homicidal was Sharon Osbourne. She's the one that brought it up. Actually, we should bring her up because he's playing with her too. So, she brought it up because she said, do not feel good with him. He's around a button, to blow up the world. And I was like, that's weird. I don't know that character. Like, I don't know that character in him. We didn't see it in public. The rest of us, no. Homicidal? She's picking up homicidal. And I still didn't really go into this thing about it because I was like, I don't see that, because he's masking. He's full blown, this thing in the public. So as we see how he has enjoyment of people getting killed and doing torturous harm and these other things, that's a very serious thing. So yes, he has homicidal tendencies. He's homicidal. And it's like, would he do it himself? I guess given the chance, but it's always best for him. He tells other people to do it. Like they're pawns, right? You guys, like a mafia dude, you go do the dirty. Okay. Oh, did you take him out? That's good. Do we care that those people are not drug dealers on a boat? Just blow it up. Yeah, this is dangerous. And in fact, more so dangerous that nobody's catching it when they're kids. This guy's old as shit. There's no way in hell that somebody should have got this far in life and not mental health treatment. You guys put them up here, and I'm going to say ignorantly so with the group of people, because I don't think Marjorie's that evil down inside. I think she truly believe, I don't know what the hell she believed over there, but she was in a delusional state. She's not over here going, no, we should rape some kid. There are some women in here that are on that side. I do not believe Marjorie's that woman. No, she's on the delusional side to whatever initially was going on here. I believe she came out about getting sexually harassed, something like that. I don't know. She's stuffing some crap down, but I don't, if that thing, all that stuff came out. One-time MAGA loyalist. Okay, so the Trump issues, including Epstein, the president has withdrawn support. Oh, boo-hoo. Like it's supposed to be this big deal. She was a longtime Republican ally who, she could still be Republican. Like, actually, all the Republican women right now are just like side scoot. Like, what? Like, what is this bullshit? Yeah, I don't know. Previously fiercely defended Trump and his MAGA movement because she fiercely believed that he was innocent. He's some savior in the room. That's where she was at. She believed that. She was delusional. So On Saturday, she had been contacted by private security firms and warned for her safety because he is going to promote violence and harm on you because you turned your back on the cult leader. You cut off the narcissist supply. Because we got to look beyond cults, like legitimate cults, because the cult leader type is the type that is president. They could be a CEO of a company. They could be on a farm and running a harem. They started their own religion, you know. I mean, it's just all those different things. They could be a cult leader in their home, I assume, with their family. That's the type of narcissist that is. Not all of them want to run, you know, like big, you know, big things and have a millions of people, you know, at their beck and call. But if you probably brought it to a narcissist like that, they would probably enjoy it anyway. But I wouldn't consider, I mean, I don't think they would fall on the spectrum of that, actually. But like, you know, Jim Jones obviously was. But those are like legit, cult, like what we define as cult, you know? But he's a cult leader. So he turned our, you know, the president thing into a cult, basically. So he got all the cult followers to get him power. Which is what cult leaders do, right? He manipulates their brain slowly, and they believe this bullshit. So then he flings out something to the cult, and they're like, "Oh, pitchforks!" You know, like the crazy Christians that were like, "We gotta go kill the witches." You know, like they're listening to the cult leader. We don't actually read our shit. We just listen to some dude telling us what to do. But Marjorie fell into that. Not right now. Like, not right now. I mean, I don't know where she's going to land with this, but she goes, a hotbed of threats against me are being fueled and egged on by the most powerful man in the world. Yeah, so he's abusing his position of power without referring to Trump by name. The man I supported and helped get elected. Yeah, you're a tool. You got used as a tool. Does it feel good to be used by men? No, it doesn't. But it's okay to admit it because you're admitting that that other person is sick in the head. But Greene said that aggressive rhetoric attacks. Wait, they're attacking me has historically led to death threats and multiple convictions of men who were radicalized by the same type of rhetoric being directed at me right now. So this time by the President of the United States. So were you anti the rhetoric and all those different things prior? I mean, some of these things, it's kind of interesting because some of these political people, like when they get into their positions of power, like they may not be so yappity yap about other people in their party on things that they don't like, but she needs to be more outspoken. Like she is being true to herself here by sticking to the Jeffrey story. But women have notoriously bent over for men and let us get harmed. And they would have backed down from this right here because they already know that Trump's going to do something evil. You already know he's going to do something that can land you dead. Like, literally. But for me, when I'm going at these guys, it's the same thing. Like, I already know, like, here's what's going to happen. Or here, I already know. Like, I know the plots are in place. Like, I haven't been able to show you guys the plots are in place up until about now when they started exposing the emails. I go, see, they're inside going, we got to take this person down. And that's the type of person that does that. So they're like, oh, they're a problem. We got to, you know, do this and that and this and that and this and that. She said the aggressive. Yeah. So that whole thing. And it was from him. So then what does he do? This was so interesting. So Greene did not specify any threats against her that have been received by security firms, but said, as a woman, I take threats from men seriously, and I now have a small understanding of the fear and pressure the women who are victims of Jeffrey and his cabal must feel. It's not just them. Me. I was like, hi. It was awful. We ended up homeless. Like, these guys actually systematically set that up. They set it up multiple times in about a bazillion different ways, and the world does not revolve just around Jeffrey. I just have to we gotta keep this story proper because there's an extended, Jeffrey's no longer here, so who's doing these targets, right? Jeffrey's not here. There is a cult of men that are literally trying to protect their asses. And they want to keep the power and to be able to keep abusing us the way that they have been. So Jeffrey's not here, so you can't blame Jeffrey for this stuff. These programming thing, no, no, no. And the public going at the victim. So I've been dealing with that for 20 some odd years. It's been anxiety, so it gives you anxiety. It's bad. I mean, it's just what it is. So I wouldn't say just a small understanding. I mean, if you're getting any of Trump's like people like coming after you, you're getting what we're getting, because that's where the threats are. It's like the puppet master over here, Skeletor. It's not like he's the one saying it or doing it. What he's doing is being a Trump. He's sitting back, letting it happen, talking with the people coming after me, trying to cover up for other men that were guilty as shit. And then still nobody, figures this out. And I'm like, yeah, it was really bad. And another bad thing about it is when you go into the story where Clinton was involved, it was him. They were going to Africa, I guess it was. I don't know, but the lady in the story, I always forget to say her name, Maxwell or whatever. She orders the 22-year-old, because I guess she was of age at the time, from my understanding, tells her to give him a massage. So if you're on the Clinton side of things, it's not like she's a kid, right? So I don't know if I would be, I don't know. Like the story around it is weird. So I was like, did she hear her do that? Or she's like a worker for them or something. And then to give him a massage. Yeah. So that one's sketchy. As far as it being alerted to some additional stuff, so I don't know, but yeah, okay. So I'm trying to use that as an example because I have the same similar bullshit where I'm the victim of this camp of people, right? And when I was seen by these businessmen that are tied to even I do believe. Let me check here. Like, let me just check something. I want you guys to see something because every time I tell this story, people don't understand how part of it I am. But I don't know Trump. I don't know Trump at all. But watch this. The connection between Callaway Golf and Donald Trump primarily comes from Trump-branded Callaway golf products, such as golf balls and hats, which have been sold at available, through resale markets. So I'm actually a child victim, and the camp that I was with up in here had me next to the the big honchos of Callaway, and that's concerning. It's just like the Clinton story. So it's kind of like, you see, I'm not a kid at this moment, but I'm a victim to the camp that I'm with. And they have me there with Callaway. It was 2 or 3 men. They were older men. And they were all talking. So they're present. Callaway. So the connection is serious because Callaway is on their own a business, right? And Trump has a business connection with Callaway, so he's going to care about even that company, right? Because he's got to make some money with Callaway. But the camp that I'm with, same bullshit, okay? Same bullshit. And they all mingled together. They wanted to keep the story down. I am a part of the story. Sorry, guys. I know how much you guys hate me, but I am part of the story in the weirdest of ways because you have to know the universe. We didn't know that. We didn't understand this bullshit here. Because I'm like, I'm in the music industry. Why is this golf people? I was like, these stupid ass golf people. It was like, I was so young over here. So yeah, I was in my, young, oh God, how old was I here? I was the age, I was 20 years old. I was 20 years old and here's Callaway. And you have to know I look really young. These men are old. Even the camp that I'm with, I'm 20 years old. You don't know if I'm 17. You don't know anything. I'm just really young. And there was not a tank of young girls back here with these guys. Let me tell you. You might think that, but not with this camp. Not at all. I was like, it wasn't that. It's not that weird, thing that you see on TV where they're like, oh, these rock stars, and they had all these young little girls around them. I mean, it happens, right? But this camp has been around for eons, or, crutched. So when I was around, I was like the only young girl around, and it was really weird. And then all the other fans were like these older women, like older, like 30s, 40s, 50s. Yeah, it was like something like that. And no, no, Callaway. I would want to investigate Callaway. The guys that I seen there probably are not even alive now because these guys are so old and crutched. It was like I don't know if it's the CEOs of the company. Like you'd have to pull out the thing from the early 90s, in that mid 90s portion there, which Callaway dudes were, seen with the camp that I'm with right here. The camp that I'm with right here. Yeah. So those men are witnesses. Like Clinton. You know what I mean? It's that thing. So I'm talking about it while I'm following Trump. I'm like, yeah, you guys, you know what's going on with these golf people, the business guy, the Callaway. I named Callaway. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like, mm-hmm. But I want you guys to see that. Because these are the connectors. So they're freaking out on me, dude. I'm like, I'm a kid victim, blah 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 blah. But I don't know Trump's involved in that shit. Like nothing. It was weird. I was just like, when I was going through it, I go, yeah, these weird people are popping out and targeting the crap out of me, and I never even met these people. And then there's these big business people, and then other, artists or actors or whatnot. And they're going at it. And I was like, wow, that is, and they're making their stance, like they're showing their stance, like they're physically showing their stance on the topic that they want to cover that shit up. And I'm like, those people are terrible. I would have never thought that. That's interesting. Yeah, so you just see it from afar. Like you're not in our story, so you're not looking for it. I'm looking for it. And I was like, well, one of these days, and I'm not going to let them play the game like, I had no idea. No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. No, they did know, and they're evil as sin. They're fake, and they like to come out here and go, we spread love and blah, blah, and here's my finger to your love. Okay, so that's where we're at with that one. Back to Marjorie. At least she's consistent and cares. She cares about what she thought, on that other thing, but then they go, okay, and the accusation echo claims by Trump and administration officials that Democrats have used paid actors at protests. Okay, Greene posted a chart of rising average grocery bills, calling it the ultimate warning to all my Republican colleagues, equating the cost of living pressures to a vote in Congress over the release of further Epstein files next week. So she cares. I mean, we're victims. We're survivors. So the stuff that he's targeting can kill us. And he's such a piece of shit. I wish we could take a straitjacket and just drag him away. I wish we could do that in this country, finally, for somebody who's really mentally ill. It's funny, projection from other people. Anyway, you vote no on Tuesday to release the Epstein files and face severe outrage from America, she warned. Republicans don't have support from women, and this right here is the perfect example of why. The Post is, dude, she's coming up strong here, in my opinion, because it's the right thing. It's the right thing. She's pointing the right thing out right there, and she's catching them in their hypocrisy. The Post is the latest in increased bitter wars of words with Trump, and then House Speaker Mike Johnson, who's a coward. He's a waste of a decent-looking dude. is expected to hold a vote next week to decide whether to release the entirety of unclassified communications and documents. Marjorie traitor. Yeah, she's a traitor now. How is she a traitor? You're a traitor to the cult. Greene is a disgrace to our great Republican Party. Because she's not for rape. You have to be for child rape, okay? That's what he's saying. You have to be for child rape and human trafficking. You're a disgrace, okay? You didn't cover it up. You're not helping me cover it up. You're going to get me in trouble, and you're a disgrace. It's you. It's you. Not me. Not me. Not me, the one that's in the pictures or whatever, hanging out with children. You, Marjorie. You, Marjorie. Now you're called Wacky Marjorie and saying he would endorse a chat. You know what sucks about that? So these types of narcissists will pick on your, like, a real thing, right? Like, you have a flaw. You just have a flaw. You could be fat. You could be, you could not be the best speaker. You could, people already categorize you as crazy, wacky already, right? Like, because sometimes in the past he has, right? But he takes that thing and then he flings it right at you to use as a weapon. And right here, this is about the most sane she has ever been. This is called sane Marjorie. I was like, this is somebody coming out of a cult. I was like, this is coming to sanity. When you're coming to sanity, the cult leader narcissist is going to start messing with your mind, saying there's something wrong with you leaving, and do this whole thing. That's what's going on there. But he's dangerous. He's going to sit there and promote like harmful things to happen to her. And then he's going to find enjoyment over it because you just left the call. You did not stay. See, this is a military mindset too, which is part of what we've been talking about, is why it's unhealthy for kids. You have to join a gang. It's like a gang thing too, right? Because cult, gang, same stuff, right? The same mindset. Like, you have to be loyal to this one thing, which is usually men, right? You have to be loyal to us regardless of anything. And, if you go against it, then, you're blah, 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 blah. I mean, it's basically the same thing. So it's a very militant mindset that you could never disagree with them. Never. You have to brainlessly follow the leader when he tells you what to do. It's not asking. Is he asking? He asks, and then you say no, and then he doesn't respect your opinion. Now he goes on the trashing thing. So this is such typical narcissist actions. Like, they're just like textbook. I mean, you could literally just pull out the book and go, oh, okay, yeah. So the next move will be, oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, he's going to call people and seem like a caring person. Oh, okay, that one. That was a good one. They were making me laugh so hard on that line, though. He's like, you guys seem close. I was like, what the hell? Yeah, anybody who's not an idiot or evil down on the inside would sit there and look at that and go, oh, yeah, that's the most detached, statement, which is disturbing because, number one, why is he doing it to begin with? And then two, there's no care in it, and it's like a concept, like, it's weird, like, really, partners are supposed to like each other. Well, in the historical past, no, they were not. They didn't, and they were owned slave property, and we'll learn to love each other against their will. Yeah, so they didn't have that. But the reason I'm thinking even more deeper on it is that they were narcissists, right? They didn't have good connections. But he's a little bit more than just a narcissist. It's like the narcissist traits are inside his psychopathy. So I was like, yeah, I don't know, because he's homicidal, that he kings Jeffrey Epstein, who, there's nothing good in Jeffrey Epstein's story, right? Like, he's not this good guy. But it's like he kings him in mental health problems, and then it's not a good thing. Disturbing. Oh yeah, if Trump were to sit there and do the whole Jim Jones thing, his followers would just have to lay it out in a certain way. they that's highly disturbing. There's nobody I would ever follow where I would just follow the leader because somebody told me to do something. See, that religious stuff is really bad because it the people that are doing it are the people that were led into that first, and then they're more likely to fall into this, and then that, I mean, that's just the truth. There's steps to it. Like, you have to have a certain step in order to even be like that much of a bobblehead to even listen to a Trump. So you have something else ingrained in you to where you're like, oh, I need to listen to some guy that knows, I think he knows more than me. It's like, I would never think that. That dude, no. He was entertaining for like a hot minute, but it was like not even, I didn't think any of it was real. Like, it just seemed entertainment bullshit. Like, nothing. No, he was not acting like this. No, no way. But in the book, like I was saying, when I was reading the portions where he's just so detached, he's like, I am poorer than the homeless man. It's like, is this a joke? Because it's hard to take that seriously. Like, you read it and you're just like, who would put that outright in a book and like legitimately believe that? It just sounds like garbage, like bullshit. Like, he's trying to be deep and philosophical about something. And no, lo and behold, he really thinks like that. AI answering it is so funny. It's like it would be totally far-fetched. It's like totally wrong for, him to be seen as poorer than almost as funny because it's like talking like generically about it. Like, that's absurd, basically. That had led Trump to accuse Greene of going far left. Yeah, oh, because I'm far left. So if I like Marjorie Taylor Greene on any level, she all of a sudden became a far left. I'm not even a Democrat. I'm an independent. Like, because I don't buy into what the Democrats believe. We are more for what he calls communism. The communism. That's what he calls communism. Caring people are communist. That's a typical cult leader psychopath. Yeah, because they don't have empathy. They don't have any connection to other humans. So therefore, you're a communist. That is a danger to me because you care about other people and you need to let me do homicidal acts. Yeah, it really is that. Marjorie is showing empathy. That is why. I mean, I'm just trying to dissect it for you, like why this thing is going on. Yeah, because she's showing empathy, and that's equated to the left, and it's equated to a female, which he is not. And from the biblical standard doctrine, men are not supposed to have those types of things. It goes back and forth. It depends what you want to pull out from it, but technically, no. Like, if you go through it, the male portion. So for the female portion, we're supposed to be all emotional, whatever. And then that's why they always degrade each other, the men back and forth, like saying, you're acting like a woman. You're acting like a B word. You're doing these things. So me as a woman, I'm never calling a man that because I'm degrading myself about 10 times over by doing that. And women that say it are ignorant as hell. Men that say it to each other can give my middle finger because they're degrading me to degrade another man. So I have an issue with that. So, but anyway, that's why they do it though. I mean, the why they do it is like, oh, you're a woman. So they're degrading women to another dude. And it's like, go to hell. But that's him. That's him. He's just playing some games here with their head. And then he goes, Trump wrote that all he had witnessed from Greene in recent months was complain, complain, complain. Oh, not from Trump, right? Hasn't he been? So he does flip flop. Okay, so now he's gonna flip the script. You're the problem, Marjorie. You are. You complain, complain, complain. It's like the Alice and Matt thing, right? You have a narcissist problem, said the grandiose narcissist, right? It's funny because it's not funny when you're in it, but it's just funny. Like when you're outside the whole dynamic and you just read it like we're doing right now. It's just like, yeah, it's ridiculous, right? And then you question, like, how could you even fall inside this? It's like, but he's doing it. He's like, complain, complain, complain. He's throwing his bullshit onto her. And he's like, I can't take a ranting lunatic's call every day. Okay, so now he's trying to call her crazy. She's probably pushing the Jeffrey Epstein thing on there. I don't know what she's doing. But anyway, Greene said she had supported Trump with too much of my precious time, too much of my own money, and fought harder for him even when almost all other Republicans turned their back and denounced him. Doesn't she sound like Allison Mack? Doesn't she sound like Allison Mack? I said she's not alone. She really isn't. It's just in context. You need to understand context, like different context, different, scenarios where this has happened. So Marjorie falls in line with the Allison Mack, where she's like, I gave my soul to Keith. Well, this is Marjorie Taylor Greene. I gave my soul to Trump, and then you see he's throwing me under the bus. So Allison saw that too with the other dude at some point, right? They're like, is this really going on? Yeah. And it's like a moment of like, I'm about to come out of the cult. I think Elon Musk was actually being truthful with some comments. I think he just has fun, like outing people in weird ways. I don't know. I would say he's not as bad as Peter Thal, but he definitely has some issues. But no, Elon was trying to fling out truths here and weird things. He does weird things, really weird things at times. And then they go talking again. He's such like, a weird person because with him, it could be hard to understand because, well, number one, he's on the spectrum. So he does things that, are harder to read than the average. I mean, he's a little bit more on the spectrum than just some other high functioning ones. I don't want to say, you know what? I'm going to save his ass. So I'm not going to do a read on it because the minute that Trump even thinks something, then, Okay, only to make up after cooling off period. Okay, so, well, yeah, but did you guys see how filthy these guys are? Like, Jeffrey Epstein was so, like, keep one eye open. Like, I always knew, like, we're hanging out a lot, right? Like, they hang out a lot, but they know he's a pretty bad dude. So, wouldn't you rather be on the side with the bad dude? Like, to have him not, like, do something bad to you. I mean, not me. I don't care. I don't even want to be in their universe. But, like, if you have to, like, deal with these people all the time, this is the same thing that victims deal with, too. Is like, do you want to be on the bad side of this terrible human in the same universe where you have to deal with them? Or do you just deal with it and you don't say much? That she said it was political good old boy system in the state. Like, she can't get past it, but you guys don't see why it's happening. You guys keep thumping that Bible thing, but honestly, the foundation is there. That's for anybody's side. It isn't a political thing. It's just a general human problem. Like, she sided with MAGA, including Tucker. Yeah, well, you should never be siding with Tucker. In September, she said she wanted to expose the Epstein rape and pedophilia network and ask people to remember she is not suicidal should something happen to her. Yeah, that's kind of scary though. I mean, that's not, there is a thing to this because, as I said, they systematically got me to where they were trying to make me homeless, but this was like a long time ago. Like, it started from day one, actually. And it's like the cops see I'm getting harmed. I'm a kid. They don't save me, right? And then this whole thing happens, right? So it started in there. So it's not involving Jeffrey Epstein or anything, but it is involving the network that is holding up the house, like the network of these men. So it's like trying to explain this to people. You have to really broaden your view about this because there's like this massive network of men that have this ideology of being with children and raping them and that we're supposed to submit to them. So then they're in the government all over the place. So they're in positions of power. So then they get involved in different organized crime universes here, but they all kind of intermingle together. And so they're holding up the house, right? So if I go to that cop to try to report, oh, these men are raping me, I'm a kid, and they block it, then we have a problem, right? So then we can't go at it. So their excuse was calling us liars, but I keep stressing to you guys, no, they know you're not a liar. They rape people. They know exactly what they're doing, but they got women to believe. This is the other thing that the narcissist had done. They got women to believe that they thought that they were liars. No. Like, no. You have to be educated on these disorders, because that's the thing that they do. You're seeing it right here. They're flipping it all around. They're looking at all your, weaknesses that they consider weaknesses, and the lack of education that they made sure you didn't have. So they made sure that you didn't have all the education on this, so you wouldn't even tell anyway. That's what they wanted initially for mostly females. They didn't want you to tell. But at the same time, they did it to men too, right? Because the men are not getting that education either. So they're running around getting raped and touching each other and doing all this crap, and they're not telling anybody. They're just like, oh, it's all normal in the universe. My daddy get me raped, it's all fine. And then they're raping everybody, and they're like, what's wrong? Doing this crap. No, but they know that they're, doing these things, mostly in the plot sections, where they're like, okay, we're going to get this girl. I was like, I'm glad somebody asked her for permission. But no, they talk about you like an object. I'm going to go get this girl. So we're going to go hunting tonight, and I'm going to go get her. And it's like, excuse me? Yeah, but their brain, you hear, it's like narcissism. It's just them talking to themselves and their own needs and wants and whatever, and they don't care about anybody else. So that's a major problem. So I don't know if I want to say pedophile net. Like, it's weird, because if you understand the story in entirety, I wouldn't exactly call it network, but it could be a network. I mean, I guess however you want to place that, but it's part of the religious doctrine. So it's like all these men with this weird ideology who made the laws to rape kids to begin with are Christian men, and particularly white men, because people of color couldn't do the laws, so neither did any woman. So the pedophile white men that have a 12-year-old, Mary, is the one that made these laws to go rape some kids. So it's funny, because the females in, the religion at some point are like, dude, we need to stop this. But then they still stick to the religion. It's kind of weird to me, but you gotta eventually, you can't be with that whole thing. So they, start fighting it, and then they're trying to up the age thing. Like, they were trying to up the age. They worked a lot harder in the past than they did in the past couple of decades that we've been here. But they worked pretty hard to try to push these laws, and then to vote. Like, they worked really hard against this network. What you're calling network, that's the network from back in 1920. It's the same network of men. And so then they're fighting it, and then it's like all of them, right? It's like, it legitimately is all of them. So then you're like, oh, okay. So then they started like degrading the females that weren't married in the media. Now that happened in my lifetime, and they're rape victims. And then they were calling these victims prostitutes. So who was doing that, right? The Christian men. But they got women on board by the same thing how you guys got involved in Trump. When I'm viewing it, it's in a different way. So I see what they're saying, but it's a cult. Like, it's a cult network. I guess you could say a cult network, but it's like all of them. It isn't Jeffrey's in it, but he's just in it. He's the one that gets caught, right? The one of the few that gets caught up in here, as some other ones have. No, the camp I was doing with, they said I was totally fine to get some kids. They should have totally understand. I was like, I'm not understanding anything. We're not going to be okay with adult men getting kids across the state of California. Why California wants to be okay with this, or why the feds want to be okay with this? Well, it tells you the answer, right? The lack of action. The lack of action happens when somebody's down with raping kids and does not see a problem with human trafficking and raping kids. That's it. Like, it's not an argument. It's like, that's where it is. It gives you the answer. Listen to them talk. Listen how they're talking about the victims on here. It's insane. I have to go through it, and I tell people, I go, just understand the placement of it, because The placement of it is mental health issues on those people. Don't let them put that mental health issue on you, like there's something wrong with you and you should feel bad for coming out. The mental health issues on those people, and they need to go to a therapist and or be locked up. But they outright like say, oh, we're into kids. What is your problem? That's what they said to me. Like I kept getting these messages and I'm like, this is disgusting. Who are these people? You know, but it wasn't, we don't believe this story. It's like, who are you? Well, there were some people that are like, who are you? I had sex with that pedo. It's like, what sick woman is this? I don't know. That would be the last thing I'd want to prance around if somebody accused my man of being a pedophile. I would be like, oh my God. You know what? Let me figure this out. I don't know. And maybe I can't figure it out. And I probably will not shake it off. And I would not raise my arm out here going, my man, I had sex with him. I don't know. It's disgusting to a victim. Yeah, but the mindset of the female doing that is like a hot mess. That's a hot mess. I didn't even take it personally. I was disgusted by it. And I was like, man, she got problems. So they asked whether she planned on becoming a Democrat. She said both political parties had failed and called for women to step up and steer the country. Our red, white, and blue flag is just being stripped to shreds. And I think it takes women of maturity to sew it back together. I don't even disagree with that because I don't like this black and white thing going on. You know, I had to finally, go, you know what? I started off Republican, but I don't think I was ever like legitimately Republican. It was like, probably because when I started off, we were Christian, right? So at that time, so some of those more, rigidy things were okay with me at that moment. Whereas technically I was pretty liberal though. When it comes down to like my feelings towards the homeless, I was a very big, I wanted to save everybody. So I had the whole save everybody thing, give everybody my money, let me help everybody out. Like I always had that in me. That's just, I have a soul, okay? I have a soul unlike these people. And it was weird because when I'm viewing the church people, it was kind of like a mix of things. Like there's this tiny group of people that like legitimately want to help people. Like they really do. But the rest of them, were pretty bad actually when it comes down to it on the same topic that you're looking at. So then I switched on over to the Dems but I didn't vote for Clinton. No, I knew Clinton was a problem. I was a pretty good read right there because I didn't know he did all these other things either. I was like, that guy is sketchy as hell. Like just generally as a man. And then, no, and I don't like Hillary because, not because of her policies or anything like that. It had to do with the way how she views other women in the world and that she would blame the female for all the things that the man did to that girl, right? Like she puts a lot of blame on those people and she doesn't hold the man accountable. So which is very important to me that they do that because you get stuff like this right here, what's going on. And then it switches back over. Now we got to get some more men that want to fake crusade. They're on our side and then they never are. And then they make us homeless. And you know what I mean? It just is this thing. And I was like, wow, they're all bad. Like there isn't even a good side. Bernie was like the closest thing to being like the decent dude in the room. And I was like, at least he cares about, the people that should matter, like the everyday American, the working class people, the, how the unfairness is with these rich men just stealing all the money and controlling everything and doing this crazy stuff, where that was the closest thing that aligns with my moral values. And Trump is over here, degrading him because he can't win him in a debate. He just can't do it. So he has to turn him into some evil communist that something terrible is going to happen if he was like voted in. And it's really unfortunate because we wouldn't be suffering right now. This is the truth of the matter. If you guys had put Bernie in even just the time that he was running, that the country would be so much better. We would not be suffering right now. And nobody would be threatening to take away food off your table. Nobody would making you so miserable and, scared to come out of your house. They'd be trying to make sure that every person is being taken care of, which, yeah, there is a fundamental thing in their doctrine, like in the Bible thing, about helping people out, but you didn't need the Bible for that. But there is a thing in there where they're supposed to be helping people in need, not the rich, because the rich are going to hell. Like, there is legitimately an explanation for that, which at the time what they were trying to explain was these narcissist people who are self-centered piles of shit that harm everybody. You have to be the one to go and help the people who they're not helping so they don't die. You know what I mean? They're loved. You matter in life. That's why people joined in that religion, right? Because it's something that people should be doing anyway without needing to come up with that. But it's there. Like, that's the portion that gets them all sucked in, right? But that is in there. So if they want to even be playing with that, I go, well, you're not doing that. So you're definitely not doing that by sitting there going, I'm going to take away all these things and then present that all these people are scamming the system. I go, you know how hard it is to even get any of these program things? Because they ask for, copies of all your bank accounts. And, you guys don't understand. He's spewing out shit that he never had to do. And just making up stuff and hoping that his followers, who probably half of them are on aid too, are like, yeah. I don't know why they would be going, yeah. The next thing is going to happen is they're going to lose their benefits and they're going to be suffering. And they're like, I just voted for this guy. But that happened with the Dems too, where I'm like, do not vote for that thing. And they're like, oh, we're going to disregard these women. We're going to disregard these women. And we're a bunch of Catholics and Christians up in here. And we're going to go against women and then harm the shit out of them. And then they get upset with them and they don't want to vote for them the next time. And they're like, oh, misogyny. I go, that ain't misogyny. You guys are the misogynists. You didn't respect women enough to listen to them. And then you got sucker punched by the worst sociopath out here. I'm like, psychopath, whatever you want to call him. So people looked at that and went, where do we go? Well, you guys seem worse right now. They had like 4 years they didn't do anything. I'm suffering over here in the corner, man. And I'm trying not to pay attention to politics at all. Like, you get so sick of it after a while. I was like, I don't want to hear the bullshit back and forth. And it's not changing anything. Is my life changing? No, it's like 10 times worse now at that time. And I'm like, oh, they're into kidnapping people in our state. And we're just going to ignore it. We're going to ignore the cop portion. We're going to ignore all these people. Yeah, it's the same bullshit. It's the same bullshit. And no party cares about women. Like, they're trying to sit there and go, oh, us Dems, like, love women to death. They go, oh, no, you just went on your Catholic trip over there. And you literally target us all. So I don't want to hear it. And then, so it just becomes this thing of like, we're better than this group and this group is better than the other. And neither one of them are. They have their own different things of why they're bad, but they're both just as bad. Okay. So yeah. So it just becomes this black-white thing. And I don't like the black-white thing. We should have, I don't even think our country should be running with a single narcissist president. Some company, I don't know, I can't even get into the whole thing about it, but I was presented like these different ideas of government, like it doesn't have to run with a single president. And I was like, yeah, I never even thought of that. And that changes my whole perspective of things. Like if it's just where it's like, a multiple group people thing where people come together. And I was like, yeah, we shouldn't be having narcissist men, trying to, feed off that shit to being some kind of king of the universe in a country. I don't think that's serving us well at all. I don't think it never did really. Cause if you go through the history, it's like, we never really had any rights. Like you just go through this thing and everybody's just fighting all the time to try to get this, that, the other. And it's just ridiculous. And then it's becoming a bias thing for Christians, and that should never be that way. And they don't represent me. They don't represent other groups of people out here with different belief systems, right? So the thing having all that together and talking about the problems from those people, which we have been now. And I'm just pointing it out. But they want to sit there and try to even mute that. Like Trump is like totally like, oh, you know, if it was totally like he could just sit there and go boom, boom, boom. He'd be like, arrest everybody who's not a Christian. Yeah, yeah. You can't say a bad word about my religion. I was like, no, no, actually we can. That's part of the free speech thing about it. What you don't have the right to do is start targeting the churches and doing horrible things to it. And at no time are we doing that. There's just these other people that are extraordinarily off kilter. But we're talking about it, so you know, you make your decision from our opinions. You know, you make your own decisions about the problems of them. But they saw, you know, the right to exist at this moment. So it's not that thing. But yeah, but this ultra bias and like laws and things like that and them trying to shove their cult down our throat. Not everybody's Catholic and not everybody's Christian, you know. There's a lot of Jews out here. There's a lot of Hindu. There's a lot of a whole bunch of other people out here. No, but Trump flipped it around. That's what he does. Oh, flipped the script. I mean, that's it. That's it. He just flipped the whole argument around. You know, flipped it on its head, turned it all to Marjorie Taylor Greene. You're crazy. Okay. See ya. Yeah, it's just that. And then now she probably feels like, oh, very bad person in the room. And she's the most moral, going to sanity here, going, we just want the files released. Didn't you run on that, Trump, that you were going to release all these files? Yeah, up until he read them, I guess. You know, I don't know, I think they wanted to get to it first, and they're like, it makes me look really bad. This doesn't make me look good. Um, no, this isn't right. This is, yeah, yeah. That's the narcissist, dude. First of all, I wouldn't be part of this, but if my name pulled up in one of these stories and I did that crap, I would let it come out and I would explain my position. And you could get pissed off at it or whatever you want to think about it. But if it's true, it's true, you know? It's like, fucked up. I did. Like, I could take that accountability. That's the big difference. It's like I did something wrong. I did something and I wasn't thinking. And yeah, I mean, we've all done it, right? It doesn't make you look good. But I always find that to be good to talk about here when we're talking about even this topic, because it's like, yeah, I know my mindset when I did something really effed up. But these guys are an F up 24/7. But we could kind of understand it, like a little bit. Like it gives us the clue into like the further monster thing of it. But it's like I feel guilty. They don't feel guilty. Like they don't have the sense to even feel remorse. Like I feel really bad that, you know, I did this one thing and, this thing. No, not at all. Because it's constantly like somebody else, somebody else, somebody else. And the thing that sucks on this thing is that when I'm battling all these mega narcissists, I am the victim to them a million times over. So then it's like, I'm a victim, I'm a victim, I'm a victim. It's not a covert narcissist. I like legitimately am. So you could get lost in that thing. You could get lost in the thing from the delusional thing that the cult leader these narcissists are throwing out. And then you hear victim, victim. It's not the same thing. But no, those women, like we could point out those women because they're the ones that we're talking about where they're like, I have no ears and they don't listen to anybody. And they're like, you treated me so, but I don't know, some other thing. Like they kind of manipulate it into another way. You don't love me. Blah, 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 blah. But Trump is doing that too. Like the you don't love me, but he doesn't care about love. Love is not the total important thing, but he's going to manipulate love and he's going to make you think he loves. I don't know. These women obviously like an empty shell of a human, but they cannot be warm and caring. You are such a perfect beauty, Melania. You don't speak. You shine the purity that the Bible had put out here, where you stay in silence. You just write messages on the back of your jacket, signaling for help. It's like, that's kind of the ridiculousness of this whole thing. Oh, God, trying to get a job now. Well, AI and these companies are getting rid of people. It's just, they need to start having a universal income, because that's where it's going. They had plenty of time to get it set up and start doing it. Now they're gonna wait till it totally implodes. You know, like it just goes into this thing where everybody is like effed, and then go, oh, we need to do something now. It's like, no, you should have done it the years prior past. Like, what are you talking about? You need to test something. What is this bullshit? No, it needs to be in place because the way the world is changing, you can't make up for the job losses and the cost of, you can't make up for these things. It's not changing. It's not going down. It never went down. It's getting way worse. And these celebs live in a damn bubble where they don't live with other people like that, and they just spout out their bullshit, and they think they're so self-centered that they think that they did something more special than everybody else, and it's just completely wrong. Mostly when you have this group of guys on you and they don't like you because you outed them. Yeah, who's going to let me not thrive? The people that own all that stuff. So I have to do business online. So if they start effing with my online presence, then that equates to lack of sales. Okay, so then that's lack of money, and then therefore somebody's going to pay for it. Well, they do it on purpose, and then now they're demonizing again and being like, oh, we're going to go make all these people suffer 10 times more from our own folly. But they're doing it on purpose. They're getting off on really harming people. They're sick in the head. That's for the most part from a lot of these people, but obviously other ones are ignorant and they follow along with the cult leader.